Funny how people unsubscribe from your life without notice. One day they swear forever, the next they're gone. But hey, if you're here, hit subscribe. It's free, unlike loyalty. When I think back to my ex-fiancée, I don't feel anger anymore. Just a strange sense of amusement. But at the time, it was brutal. I was scrolling through Reddit the other day and saw a post about a guy whose girlfriend cheated on him, completely shameless about it, acting as if it were no big deal. It reminded me of her. I haven't told many people about this, mostly because it sucked to go through, but hey, why not? So let's go back about 2 years. I met my ex, let's call her Chloe, on a dating app. Not one of those hookup apps, but the serious kind, where people are supposedly looking for real relationships. At the time I was 33, she was 30. We matched, started talking, and instantly clicked. Like really clicked. Same sense of humor, same interests, endless conversations that never got dull. Then came the first date. I was nervous as hell because Chloe was stunning. Like, stop you in your tracks, jaw-dropping gorgeous. Now, I don't think I'm some hideous creature, but she was way out of my league. I remember thinking this probably won't go anywhere serious. Girls like her? They have options. And I wasn't looking to get my heart stomped on. But then, she actually liked me. We had an amazing time. The chemistry was undeniable, and soon enough we were seeing each other regularly. It became serious fast. And for a while, everything seemed perfect. Except for one small thing. Chloe loved attention. Guys would hit on her in front of me, and she'd casually mention all the messages she got on social media. At first I brushed it off. I trusted her. I didn't want to be that insecure, jealous boyfriend. I mean, if she wanted to be with someone else, she wouldn't be with me, right? I was such an idiot. One night, we were up late having one of those random, goofy conversations about anything and everything. Somehow, the topic of hall passes came up. You know, where couples joke about the one celebrity they'd hypothetically be allowed to sleep with, no questions asked. Chloe said hers was Justin Timberlake. Fair enough. The guy's a legend. But then she smirked and said, honestly, I don't think many celebrities would say no to me. And the way she said it? She meant it. Chloe always knew she was beautiful. I knew it too. But when she casually threw out that line, asterisk, I don't think many celebrities would say no to me, asterisk, something about it didn't sit right. It wasn't just confidence. It felt arrogant. Like she was acknowledging she could have anyone she wanted. Including maybe someone other than me. I laughed it off at the time, but the thought lingered in my mind. For a while, things went back to normal and I tried to forget about it. But then, little things started to change. At first, it was subtle. Chloe started coming home later than usual. She used to be home by 6 p.m. like clockwork. Suddenly, it was 7. Sometimes 7:30. And then later. When I asked why, her excuses were weak. Oh, I lost track of time, or, I ran into a friend. That wasn't like her. She used to tell me everything. She'd give me details about her workday, the projects she was handling, the people she talked to. Now, just vague answers like she was trying to avoid the subject. And the worst part? If I dared to ask about it, she snapped. Why are you being so controlling? She'd say. Or, do you not trust me? As if I was the bad guy for even noticing the shift. I wasn't the type to start fights, so I backed off. But the late nights kept happening. And so did the empty explanations. Something wasn't right. I tried to ignore it. To push that small voice in the back of my head away. But one night I finally asked, is everything okay? You seem different lately. She denied it immediately. I'm fine. Just stressed with work. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But then, things got even stranger. After that conversation, she seemed to get better. More talkative, more affectionate. If she was late, she'd tell me stories about what she'd been doing. But the details were always off. Hollow. Like she was just saying what she thought I wanted to hear. And one night, I knew for sure she was lying. That night when Chloe walked through the door, I knew. She had that same fake smile, the same rehearsed tone. Oh, I ran into an old coworker, we had drinks. Was. I don't know how to explain it, but something clicked in my brain. Like a light switch flipping on, revealing everything I had been trying to ignore. She was hiding something big. And suddenly, the thought I had been avoiding became impossible to ignore. She was having an affair. Not a misunderstanding. Not some little issue we could talk through. A full-blown, undeniable betrayal. I couldn't just let it slide. I needed to know the truth. The woman I fell for? She wasn't here anymore. And I had to find out what took her place. The plan. So there I was, sitting in my apartment, convinced my fiancée was cheating on me. And my first thought? I need to check her phone. That's where all the evidence would be, right? Texts, emails, social media messages. But almost immediately I realized that plan was dead on arrival. She was always on her phone. I'd never get my hands on it long enough to search through anything. Even if I did, I wasn't exactly a hacker. I wouldn't know where to look. And let's be real, if she was cheating, she probably covered her tracks already. I didn't want to just suspect anymore. I wanted to know. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I hired a private investigator. Yeah, I know. It sounds like something out of a movie. But I needed someone who knew what they were doing, someone who could find out who she was seeing, where she was going, and give me undeniable proof. A quick Google search led me to a PI with great reviews. I called, scheduled a meeting, and a few days later I walked into his office. My stomach was in knots. This felt like admitting defeat. The investigator was an older guy, the kind who had clearly seen it all before. I told him everything, from the late nights to the weird excuses to the gut feeling I couldn't shake. He just listened. No judgment. No telling me I was paranoid. Just taking it all in. And then he said, "I've seen this 100 times before." His plan? Surveillance for 2 weeks. It wouldn't be cheap, but it would give us the best shot at catching her. I negotiated it down to 10 days. Gave him her number, email, work address. Everything he needed. Before I left, he looked me in the eye and said, "Don't contact me until the 10 days are up. No matter how hard it gets, you need to let me do my job." I nodded. I had no idea how long those 10 days would feel. The longest 10 days of my life. Waiting was torture. Knowing that, at any moment, the investigator might be watching my fiancée with someone else? It consumed me. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. Work was a blur. And the worst part? She kept lying to my face. 3 times in those 10 days she came home late, past 9 p.m., with the same pathetic excuses. Oh, I made last-minute plans with some friends. Traffic was terrible. I didn't argue. I just nodded, pretending to believe her, all while thinking, this is it. This is the night she gets caught. Every time she walked through that door, it felt like she was digging her own grave. And then on the 10th day my phone rang. It was the investigator. "I have what you need. Meet me in person." I didn't ask questions. I just grabbed my keys and drove, hands gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. My stomach was in knots. When I walked into his office, he was already there, sitting at his desk, with a manila envelope in front of him. He looked up, motioned for me to sit, and then he slid the envelope toward me. I didn't bring a bag. I didn't pack anything. I just left. The walls of our apartment felt like they were caving in, suffocating me with the weight of her betrayal. I didn't care where I was going. All I knew was that I couldn't stay. She didn't chase after me. She didn't cry, didn't beg. She just stood there, arms crossed, watching me walk out like I was disposable. Like none of it mattered. And maybe to her it didn't. I got in my car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles went white. My mind was a storm, rage, heartbreak, disbelief. But beneath it all, a strange sense of clarity. This wasn't just about her cheating. It was about who she really was. And I had finally seen her for what she was. I drove aimlessly for hours, lost in thought. I replayed every moment, every sign I had ignored. The arrogance, the way she basked in male attention, the way she made me feel like I was just lucky to be in her orbit. She thought she was untouchable. That no one would ever walk away from someone as irreplaceable as her. But she was wrong. The first night was the hardest. I barely slept, staring at my phone, half expecting her to text. But she didn't. Not a single message. No apology. No, I made a mistake. Just silence. That told me everything I needed to know. The next few weeks were a blur. I crashed at a friend's place while figuring things out. I blocked her on everything, not out of spite but because I refused to let her poison my life any longer. She had taken enough from me. And then something strange happened. I started to feel free. It was like I had been carrying this invisible weight for years, and I hadn't even realized it until it was gone. I worked out more, spent time with friends I had neglected, threw myself into my passions. And then, just when I least expected it, something even crazier happened. I reconnected with someone from my past, a woman I had known since high school. She wasn't just anyone. She was someone who had secretly liked me back then, but I had been too blind to notice. And now we were getting to know each other in a way we never had before. She was the complete opposite of my ex-kind. Genuine. No arrogance, no games, just real, effortless connection. And that's when it hit me. My ex was right. I would never find someone like her again. Because I finally knew that I deserved so much better. I never responded to Chloe again after that last message. There was nothing left to say. I had moved on and she was just another lesson in my past. Blocking her was the final nail in the coffin of that toxic chapter. Meanwhile, my relationship with Veronica only grew stronger. The long distance wasn't easy, but we made it work. We prioritized each other, and with every trip we took together, every late-night call, every small inside joke, I realized just how lucky I was. This wasn't just some rebound or a fling. It was real. And now, I'm standing at the edge of a future I never thought I'd have. A future I almost let slip away because I believed the lies someone else told me about my worth. But life has a funny way of proving you wrong when you need it most. So, to anyone out there who's been through heartbreak, maybe you've been cheated on, maybe you've been told you'll never find someone better, let me tell you something, you will. You just have to walk away from what's breaking you and make space for something better. Does this story resonate with you? Have you ever been in a situation like this? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And tell me, where are you watching this from? If you took something valuable from this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Because at the end of the day, we all deserve love, respect, and a happy ending.